Hi there, I'm Taylor with West Physiotherapy, and I'm a physical therapist who helps hikers get back on the trail. Still talking about hips. Took last week off. We had a vacation turned staycation. So that happened, which was a little bit of work. We managed to have some fun in spite of not going to Maine after all. So I know we're not the only ones who are having to change plans as all this goes along, but I wanted to come back to the hip. So it's been a week or so ago, we talked about different areas where you can have hip pain, the front, the side, and the back. And a lot of you had pain in one of those areas. Some of you had pain in all of those areas. And we talked about how to be more specific with our rolling techniques, kind of getting the front part of the hip as well as the side. And then we moved to the inside to these adductors and talked a little bit about how the adductors can play a big role in your pelvic positioning, and that can affect how your hip is working. Hi, Steve. Nice to see you. I miss you. Don't get smart on here. So I want to move to the back, to the butt. I've been hanging out with my young kids, so butts come up a lot. And I titled this, What Do My Dimples Have to Do with Climbing Hills? Because a lot of basically, your pelvis is a ring, okay? And in the front is the pubic bone, and in the back is the sacrum. And these two side bones come in and attach to the sacrum in the back. And those are the SI joints, or sacroiliac joints. And they tend to be right around here, and right around where, if you look at your back, you've got those two kind of dimples. Those tend to be in the region of the SI joint. Hi, Deborah. So this is an important joint. If you talk to PTs, sometimes there's some controversy. Do they move? Can you move them? Do they fuse? All this stuff. But basically, it's very important, what I would say, conduit between your leg and your trunk. Okay? So this is where the leg comes up into the trunk region, and the trunk is where we get a lot of our power and stability from, especially when we're on one leg or we're climbing or we're doing something hard. So there's this concept of load transfer, and this SI joint is kind of where it's at for that. So this area has to be moving well biomechanically in order for you to effectively get on your leg without losing any energy kind of out this hip region. Okay, so I think that's enough about that. That's why the back of the pelvis is important and can be playing a role in hip pain, even if your pain is not on the back side. If your pain is on the side or in the front, what's happening with those sacroiliac joints and their alignment can be playing a role in what's happening with your hip. So I'm going to go over a little bit of just mobilizing the area, and then kind of like a neuromuscular control. So that's been a theme with a lot of these things: biomechanical capacity, neuromuscular control, and then how you're moving, or motor control. So I've got kind of this is just like a kid's sort of inflated squishy ball. This is what I'm going to use, partly because I couldn't find the lacrosse ball. Lacrosse ball or a yoga mobilizing ball could work too. Those are harder. This is actually, as I was playing around with this is actually kind of nice. You're welcome, Deborah. I'm having fun showing you the videos. So when you're, there's a lot of, I think, tips out there for like stretching your piriformis and sciatica, and those are helpful. What I want to focus on today are the bony contours. So this top edge of the hip, kind of where you could come down on your pelvis there. This is where a lot of your glutes are attaching on the top, coming over into where that dimple area is. That's where the sacrum is meeting the pelvis or ilium out here on the side. Some people have little lumpy, I have the little lumpy, usually lipomas, just like a little kind of fatty tumor. And just, you kind of just avoid those. They're usually harmless, and for some people though they're painful, so you might not want to roll really hard over that if you feel that, but that could be what that is. If you were more concerned, you could show that, to your doctor. But I know I have those, and I just sort of try not to put direct pressure on them. And then we're going to come down a little bit more this edge of the sacrum. So it's like bony contour here, coming to the dimple, and then down on an angle. So we're kind of getting the edges. The reason we're getting the edges is where you can have a lot of fascial restrictions. That's the connective tissue around the muscle. And there are a lot of Golgi tendon organs, and these are things that help sense the tension within the muscle. And so freeing those up can be helpful. So I just go into kind of a hook lying position when I'm going to do this. And I take the ball, and I said I was going to start on the outside, but I think I'm going to start kind of right where the dimple is and put a little bit of pressure. I don't want to, kind of nervous I might pop the ball. And I'm just going to roll sort of along the edges. So it's like there's something harder, something smushier, and I'm just going to center the ball right along those positions and out along that iliac crest. That feels actually really good. I'm doing my left side because I know that if I do more hill climbing or running, this is the side that starts to feel like it might start to hurt. I just never really work hard enough to make it hurt. Because I'm too... Okay, now I am going to go over into just sort of the buttock region, and you could do that with your leg bent, or you notice start to feel kind of good to straighten my leg out and maybe just twist it in and out. A lot of times what's happening with piriformis is actually a dysfunction with the back of the hip joint, and so just kind of laying with that ball kind of in the middle of your bottom, and then rotating the leg in and out with a little bit of pressure there can be helpful. Okay, so those are some rolling options. That's my biomechanical capacity. That's can the areas move. Now we're going to move into neuromuscular control, and for that I have just a folded washcloth, or you could do this without the washcloth. But what I want you to do is lay in this position, notice, what's touching the mat? Is it just your tailbone? Is it your tailbone and your buttock cheeks? Is any of your low back in contact with the mat? And then we're going to do, if you're looking for more mobilization, you can take the folded towel and put it right in the center on that sacrum or tailbone. And then we're going to do something called a pelvic clock. So you've got a clock here. 12 is at the top, 6 is at the bottom, 3 and 9. Okay? So the clock is here. I make my clock facing out. You could do it however you want. I love this mobilization. I learned it from the Institute of Physical Art, and I use it for all kinds of things. It's just really useful movement tool, basically. And then you're going to use the numbers on the clock to just move your pelvis around. So 12 to 6, most people are pretty familiar with this direction, anterior posterior tilts. Okay. It reminds us of some other things that we do in life. All right. But then we're going to do some other things. 3 to 9, rocking side to side. And then you can do diagonals. 11 down to 4. Okay. And what I'm doing here is I'm also getting mobility, biomechanical capacity. I'm going to go to the other diagonal, which is 1 to 7, I think. I might be getting some of these numbers wrong. But I'm also working on neuromuscular control. So my body has to figure out which part of my abs do I use to, to get to these different numbers on the clock. And then you can roll around in a circle counterclockwise or clockwise, and you might notice that maybe part of your clock gets a little bit flattened. You might notice that a certain direction is painful, and if that's the case, try making your clock a little bit smaller. Okay, I could actually spend a lot of time working on this myself. But once you've kind of moved around the clock a few times, if you used the washcloth, take it out. And if you didn't, just become still and notice how much of your body is now in contact with the mat. And for me, there's quite a bit more. Before, all the pressure was really on my tailbone. Now I'm getting some pressure kind of spreading out into the glutes, and my low back is more relaxed and closer to the mat. Okay, I'm going to stop it there. There's actually kind of a neat exercise that we could do, but I might try to throw that into a different live video. I'm going to hop off soon, but if you have any questions, Kim or Deborah. Okay. As always, leave any comments below if you have any questions, or if you'd like me to tag you in any of the following videos. Hi, Mac McNair. Well, you should go back and watch this. This would help your back probably. Okay, thanks so much, and I will see you guys another time. Bye.